Good morning to everyone. In the previous video, yesterday's class, uh, we have seen about introduction to open source technologies. Open source and software. Then, what is open source? What is commercial software? What is the difference between open source and commercial? These all things we have seen. And with that, we continue in the today's video. The first point is open source refers you have access to the raw source code. The second point is the human readable C, C++, Perl, etc. files that get compiled down into the binary that is executed by the computer. This executable binary .exe file is all you get from closed source proprietary sources. So here uh, the executable file is generated by the compiler. uh, Whenever the executable file gets generated, then that will be deployed in any of the computer, or if a client requests any software, then we are going to deploy that in the client system. So if we want to distribute that executable file in online, downloadable one, then the source code, we are not going to give source code with that software. Okay, that is actually becomes automatically it becomes proprietary source. So only we are giving software, not the source code. Okay, next we move into open source licenses. Most open source software falls under some form of a license. The first one is a GPL. It's a general public license. So here, whenever we are developing a software, we have source code for that. Both we should give as a open source. So that automatically comes under general public license. So LGPL next. Ledger or libraries general public license. So here the software what we have developed, if we are giving any updates to that software, then it should be released as a version release பண்ணணும். Then the source code should be given with that. It should be given with that. The source code should be given with the developed software. So that is actually LGPL. BSD is nothing but Berkeley software distribution. This is actually especially for Unix like operating systems. This has some limited, restricted and minimal restricted license. So this is especially for Unix like operating systems, BSD. Okay, then these are the license categories for open source softwares. So then we move into internet. Many of the programs on which the internet was built are open source. So here example of internet programs are email and TCP/IP. So first we'll see about email. The email, how the email system is designed and the architecture of the email, general email system, these are open source. So if I want to develop an email system on my own, I can develop the email system in any of the programming language with the help of that architecture, general email architecture. So that can be used as free. So then I can distribute my email system as a free. So these all things comes under open source. Then TCP/IP, transmission control protocol or internet protocol. So here the TCP/IP refers a protocol. It's a kind of protocol. So in general, protocol refers a set of rules. So when we want to send data from one computer to another computer through internet or through a network, maybe network, then we can use the TCP/IP protocol to send the file from one system to another system. Here the data are sent as a packet. These packets are sent from this system to another system through these set of protocols. So these protocols, these set of rules can be designed as a software package that can be included in the operating system. So if you take Windows, TCP/IP protocol is available. So through that, the packets of data is sent from one computer to another computer. So this program is open source. I mean, this architecture, design, rules, these are open source. So that can be implemented any of the programming language. So the Windows, they have implemented TCP/IP. Okay, up to this we have seen about the general thing. What are the general things in the open source? When first, what is open source and commercial software? What is the difference? And then we have seen about licenses, and then what are the open source internet softwares? I mean, internet related things are available as open source. So these are regarding software, open source softwares. Now we'll move into how the web works. Means, for example, we have internet connection. So as a client, we request some website. So that is actually served to us as a client. So this thing, how it works, that is web how works. Okay. First thing, as a client, we request a page. For example, we are giving a domain name. It may be google.com. We type in our browser, we have internet connection, we type google.com. Then immediately the request is sent to the server through internet. Okay, here this refers client and this side refers server. Okay, this is actually internet. So here whatever the request sent from the client to the server, when a client type google.com address in the address bar of the browser, then immediately it will sync that website name to the IP address. Immediately it will sync the website name to IP address. Then it will search the IP address server in the internet. Then immediately the request sent to that server. There it might have web server or server based operating system will be there. Then web server will be installed over that. Then it may have database management system and file server. So many things will be there. So here we have a IP port in that. So by default it is 80. சில ஆப்ரேட்டிங் சிஸ்டம்ஸில் வந்து it may change, but that depends on the operating system. So for example, இப்போ வந்து operating system வந்து Windows யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம், then we installed Apache web server. So here the by default port number is 80. So the port will get opened and the request is sent to the web server. Web server receives the request and immediately it will respond based on the request, what the request asks. Then the response will be sent to the client. The client will get the browser, it will get displayed. So here this is the overall working principle. So here what really happening inside of the server. So when the request the server receives the request, immediately it will search for the content in the server. It might be HTML pages with the image, documents, it may be etc. So these all things are collected by the web server and then process it, then it will be sent to the client. Okay, here When the client receives that, it actually renders the HTML code, and then it displays in the browser. If it has any image, then image will also be get displayed in the browser. So when the file having any JavaScript, then JavaScript is executed in the client side. If it has any Java applets, then that will also be get executed in the client side. Then here the last one is send data to server using CGI protocol. Here when where we fill a form, uh, for example, we have some form on our browser, so that form we have to fill. So we fill form, and when we submit a button, the data will get posted to the server using CGI protocol. Okay, so the server, when the server receives that data, it process, I mean the CGI executable scripts, I mean it will get executed in the server, and then it will give it as a response. I mean the HTML page will be given as a response to the client. So that is the overall process of web system, I mean how the web system works. Here the last point, one thing I want to mention here, process data received from client, that is the CGI script, I mean how it is executing in the server, and then it will give the HTML file as a response to the client. So that is the point they mentioned here. Then next, about serving up static data. So for example, we are actually a client. When we connected with any internet, then we request a page. If that page is a static page, I mean it may be a HTML page, simple HTML, simply designed HTML page, that is actually available in any server, maybe deployed in the any of the server. So we request that particular page through a domain name. Here the domain name refers website name. For example, google.com, that google.com is a domain name. So the server receives the request from the client. If the server has a web server, then it looks for that particular HTML page in the root folder of the web server. If any virtual folder is there, then it will look into that virtual folder. So any web server that will have root folder in the server, the virtual folders are manually added folders. So if we want any virtual folders, then we can add it. By default, all things will be in the root folder only. So it will look into the root folder. So if the root folder has that particular page, then immediately it will respond. If that particular page is not available, then it will respond with the error page. Okay, error code. Every error will have a code. So with that error code, it will respond. So for example, if I am typing google.com, here I have not mentioned any page name. So it will look for the home page. The server will look for the home page. Home page in the sense, it may be index.html or default.html. So these are two home pages. By default, it will be configured in the web server. So whenever we type a domain name without any page, then it will immediately look for the default page or index.html. That is the home page of that particular web server. So that HTML page will be given as a response to the client. Okay, this is about serving up static data. So you all might know about static page. Very simple thing. When we design a page with the HTML, simply HTML languages யூஸ் பண்ணி ஒரு பேஜ் டிசைன் பண்ணுறோம் அப்படின்னா that those things will come under static page. இதெல்லாம் static page அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறோம். ஸோ அது ஏன் ஸ்டாட்டிக் பேஜ் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறோன்னா, we are not doing any calculations or form submission or something like that. எதுவுமே நம்ம பண்ணலை, ஜஸ்ட் டேட்டாஸை ஒரு டேபிள் போட்டு டிஸ்பிளே பண்ணுறோம். தென் we organize the contents. contents வந்து ஜஸ்ட் டிஸ்பிளே பண்ணுற மாதிரி ஏதாவது பண்ணிவிட்டு some images we are adding into the page. அந்த இமேஜ் வந்து இமேஜ் டேக் யூஸ் பண்ணி பண்ணுறோம், imgsrc tag. Then simply table tag trtd யூஸ் பண்ணி table tag create பண்ணி tables design பண்ணுறோம் பேஜ். Then the page will be saved as a .html. So that is static page. ஸோ இந்த ஸ்டாட்டிக் பேஜை தான் எப்படி வந்து சர்வர் வந்து ரெக்வெஸ்ட்டை கிளைண்ட்கிட்டேருந்து ரிசீவ் பண்ணி அதை ரெஸ்பான்ஸாக எடுத்து கொடுக்குது அப்படின்றது தான் இந்த சர்விங் அப் ஸ்டாட்டிக் டேட்டா. And then serving up dynamic data. Dynamic data அப்படின்னா the data may be in the database or somewhere else, or it may be in a document. So that actually retrieved from the particular document, and then that will be displayed in the HTML pages. So இது வந்து பண்ணுறதுக்கு we need some scripting language or any scripting language that can be used for doing this. So this category will come under dynamic data. Okay, so for this when a request comes from the client, when a request comes from the client, the server receives that request. It sends to the particular web server. That web server locates the particular file. Here this is the file name. For example, on my name I have a domain ganesh.com. Then I'm typing this URL in the browser, ganesh.com/var/cj-bin/a.cj. Then immediately the web server will look for the a.cj file inside these folders. We are inside to the www inside cj-bin inside a.cj. This file will get retrieved, and this is actually a CGI file, so it will get executed in the server, and then the content, whatever the process it is doing, that content will be given as a response to the client. So Perl actually CGI scripting. So here the Perl file is getting executed, and the response will be given as a HTML file to the client side. All outputs will be given as a HTML. So that is the main thing here. So that HTML is rendered in the client side and displayed in the browser. So that is actually serving up dynamic data. How the dynamic data is served to the clients from the server. Then serving up embedded data. So here embedded is nothing but whatever may be the web scripting language that can be embedded in between HTML tags. So here it may be Perl or PHP, anything we can embed in the HTML. So the same thing, the previous slide, how the things have been done. So the same things are followed here, but a little difference. When the server gets request from the client is actually requesting the server based on the domain name, so that it locates that server, and then the server gets the request. So the server process that request based on the requirement. Means If we have web server, that web server locates the particular page. If the page is a.html, then there will be only HTML thing. So behind the HTML file there will be PHP or Perl file that will get executed. That executed data will get displayed, embedded in the HTML. This HTML file will be sent to the client. So the embedding part, for example, if we take PHP, in our case, in our syllabus now we have PHP, so we take PHP as example. So if you want to create a simple PHP page in the server, then we can write it as a, for example, echo. We put a bracket, and within double quotes I'm typing Ganesh, within double quotes close and bracket close. This has to be saved as a .php file. Then the PHP file get executed. Echo will be printing whatever we are giving within double quotes, that will be displayed in the HTML page. This PHP file gets executed, and this PHP file will be sent to the client as a HTML, simple HTML. The client side we see only Ganesh, we cannot see the source code of that file, but it actually sends only as a HTML file. So this is the one of the securities available in the server side scripting. So if things we need, then we can embed all these things within a table. So I'm using echo. So before that we can create a simple HTML table. Within the table we put a trtd. After that we put a PHP, start the PHP tag, and then put a echo, and then close the PHP tag, and then we close the table and table definition. To close the td, close the tr, and close the table. So this will get executed as a PHP file, and then here in this file actually we have HTML tag as well as PHP tag. So this is embedded one. So instead of echo, we can have a database connection there. So we have MySQL as a database as backend. Then we can connect that database with a MySQL PHP scripting connection. With that connection, we get data from the MySQL database server. That can be displayed in between the data, table. So these all things get executed in the server and sent to the client as HTML. So from the client we cannot see the server side scripting source code. Simply it will be seen as a HTML file. So that is the serving up embedded data here. So server side scripting languages are embedded in the HTML that will get executed. The client will receive only HTML file. So here the security point is server side scripting will get executed only in the server. When it gets out of the server, it will be in the HTML format. Okay, then up to this we'll finish our topic. Then assignment is about how the web works. Explain in detail serving up content with embedded HTML. So kindly submit your assignment on time. Thank you.